We only seen 3 or 4 people die in the whole time.
That's not a lot.
It's never gonna happen.
So many people prayed on us in a beautiful way. Like they just prayed with us and like sat with us. I think there's a beautiful energy in Guatemala that we consider every time.
We're back in Merida. One of my friends, he left and he went back. Well, actually, he went to South America, and now he's back in Merida. We're back at the same time, so I want to do a sit down with him and see kind of like his perspective on coming back to Merida. You know, what his mindset is in the same place, and he's also a vet. He's been out in Merida for a very long time. So let's go over his house, see if we can get an interview. I haven't told him about this, so it's gonna be a pop up.
I love sweet times. Look at this dust in the bike. Yeah, you can make it fun, you cannot make it fun.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
Good to see you, man. You back?
I feel like a 5th grader, bro. I'm learning so much about the world, bro.
Guatemala. That hat is from Guatemala.
This is originally from Guatemala, dude. Guatemala is a lit place. Honestly, it was life-changing, I think. Every time we go to Guatemala, it feels really, like, spiritually oriented. So many people prayed on us in a beautiful way. Like, they just prayed with us and, like, sat with us. I think there's a beautiful energy in Guatemala that we consider every time.
Come on, man. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know where to sit. We can come in the house and chill for a second.
Just got back from Guatemala. How long you spent out there?
Sorry. You're saying it. I'm just like it's hard to even say like time, man. Time it's elusive. It's an elusive thing.
It's never gonna happen.
We were in Guatemala for what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks and a half. It felt like a lifetime, to be honest. But I would say Guatemala is so different. It's in every capacity. It is not like the Yucatan.
But what is different about? Where is Guatemala, first of all?
All right, Guatemala is south. I don't know if you're gonna edit something in here. It's
I
south.
will.
It's
I'm gonna
south.
put a map of Guatemala.
South of the Yucatan all right, if you're going south and you're saying you're driving, Belize is to what? The left-hand side?
Yeah. No, Belize to the right. Guatemala's in that little slip, right?
Yeah, it's down there. It's right underneath Belize and right underneath Mexico.
Is Guatemala it's connected by both oceans,
Pacific
right?
and Caribbean.
Ah, that's smooth. But
So,
why were you out there?
We're out there for multiple reasons, but primarily to visit family. We have video coming out of a beautiful wedding of Jose and his phenomenal wife and his beautiful new partner. So excited to have that. We also were visiting familial lands, different properties that are down there for family. Also some just research, just checking out certain things as we develop our own specific brands here. So we're checking out what the Guatemala market's like and what's potential out there. So,
Matter of fact, speaking of markets, what is because Merida's getting a little expensive here, but like, what is it like in Guatemala? What's like average rent for like 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom? You know, did y'all see like Airbnb stuff as well?
yeah, we saw all that stuff. You can see Airbnb on advertisements all over. When you're leaving from Cancun, it's like Airbnb, all over. But when you look up the prices, you can get anything. I'd say the price range from as low as $200 all the way to like $2,000.
$200 for what? Like 1-bedrooms or
whole houses, whole apartments, like bedrooms. Like it just depends. You definitely have to look around, and some of it is catfishing too. You just got to be mindful. I would say that there are some places that in Guatemala that are just straight up dangerous as fuck. Like, you know, Villanueva, or what is it, the zone 6, there's certain areas you got to be mindful of.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to be mindful. It's not like, it's just, you know, like in Mexico, there's certain areas you want to go and certain not.
Sure,
but then parts of Guatemala City is relatively super safe, like any other metropolitan city, like any other place on earth is super, super safe. There's definitely, and I also say there's also a part of Villanueva that's super safe in particular, but I think they call it Zona 6. Mm-hmm. It's 6 God.
Not Canada.
Not in relation to not that one. You know, they not like us. Right?
So safety wise, like you ain't had nobody mugging you, or you ain't had no police running up.
I mean, listen,
you see anybody get robbed at gunpoint?
We only seen 3 or 4 people die in the whole time.
That's not a lot.
I'm kidding. We didn't see anyone die in Guatemala. There's a lot of stigma about Guatemala. Honestly, we had tons and tons and tons of fun there. We had a lot of just warm experiences. I feel like the people there are very, very, very friendly, very considerate. Similar to Merida, I feel like it's almost like an extension in ways of a very particular Mayan culture. Merida is really safe. It happens to be in the Mayan Peninsula, the Mayan Yucatan, or this whole region where there's tons of Mayan culture. Guatemala is an extension, northern Guatemala and going into central Guatemala is an extension of that Mayan cultural experience. And so the people tend to be very hospitable and very considerate, like extremely considerate. And they wear their traditional garb there. There's a lot of...
Did you like, when you experienced, y'all go out and like interact in any like festivals or like what? How do you interact with the culture out there?
Mostly going out to places to just kind of like shop. I think they went out to the market a couple times. It was like familial farmlands. We went mostly for this wedding ceremony, so it was interacting with like family and people through those events, but also when we went out on an everyday, just sort of like the markets and stuff, you kind of seen the dynamics in there and seen like what was going on. It was kind of that was interesting to see. There was definitely some moments too, like the region we're in is called Jalapa. It's not in Guatemala City. It's 3 hours away from Guatemala City. It's super, it's very rural. It's just like developing. The town just got their first McDonald's, Wendy's, and Pollo Campero there. And so it's a big deal. Like, there's certain providers that are being built out there. And I would say this in regards to Mexico and Guatemala, for expats and people that are trying to move there. Guatemala has certain programs in place for if you want to retire early, and if you are looking to go and live and invest there. There's certain programs I think that might be even more advantageous than some of the programs that are here in Mexico. Case in point, if we had already been in Guatemala this whole time in the 4 years, we would have probably already owned a home because they have down payment programs that you can put on properties.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can, and like that's something that's a big eye opener if you're thinking about living abroad and wanting to actually, lay down some foundations. One of the reasons why it is a bit of a strain here in the Yucatan is that owning property is difficult for folks that, if you're someone that has the income coming in, but lump sums of maybe like $150,000, and you're digging around for those places, maybe it's something that it's gonna take a little bit of time to come by, but you can make those payments. I think that in Guatemala, there are properties there, especially the Pravada that we looked at. One of it was called Majorca. It was some of the prices were like really affordable in the sense of
Like what kind of numbers?
60,000 for like a 3-2, 70,000 for 4 or 5 bedrooms, 3-bath situation. There were some that went up in the 100,000, 130,000. Nothing went up to 200,000 at all.
So we talked about guns.
I mean, guns are, especially if you're coming from the States and you live in major metropolitan cities, it's not something to be, a gun. It's like you're not scared of it and stuff like that. And if you have gun safety training and you know what to do with it, you're just very mindful.
Which is very important.
Super
so last
important.
video, we talked about that.
You could definitely blow
gun
something
safety.
off. Gun safety is everything. But Guatemala is one of those countries that it's part of their amendment rights. It's like you see a lot of people out there. I'm like, wait, what? Like, tons of Israeli folks that live out there. They're into that gun culture. You have people from the United States that are there. There's groups of African Americans that also live there. There's folks from all over the world. There's a huge Korean population that's there. I feel like most of the people in Guatemala really are law-abiding citizens. They care about their families and they want to protect themselves and they want to protect their families. I've seen multiple people carrying like pistols, revolvers, Desert Eagle, like just
Did you see anybody getting shot?
No one was getting hurt or harmed in any capacity. The reason being, I also think, is if you go and you snatch someone's purse in one of these places, before you even take 3 steps away, your head is gonna get blown off your body. I feel pretty certain with that. And a lot of the people I've seen that were carrying guns and firearms, they definitely were just nice everyday folks. We were eating at this spot, eating like some Chinese food or something. We ordered Chinese food and we were eating like tacos or something, and one of the guys I waved to him and he's like waves and he's saying hi, really older guy, big old mustache, and he gets up out of his chair, huge, like just huge old school 45.
Okay. He ain't had it.
No. Well, when you drive around, you'll see a lot of people with shotguns and things like that.
Okay.
And I feel comfortable with that. I don't feel, some people say that's a deterrent. I was like, they're showing you I have an assault rifle. If someone does anything to you while you're in this shopping mall or outside in the world, we're blowing their heads off. And I think we need to.
One thing I did see though, I was reading a book. I was trying to because I like to do the opposite sometimes.
Yeah.
I like to, where am I not seeing, with gun culture? And like what someone did express to me is that guns will allow you to impulsively kill.
That's true.
Like if you have an impulse, and not just people, yourself too. So gun culture can also be dangerous that way.
Well, yeah, I could see that if the guns got into the hands of the wrong folks, you know, you just got to be mindful of that. So we were 3 hours away from Guatemala, from the El Salvador border, and El Salvador, everyone there was talking about how it's just different. Now everyone in Guatemala is vacationing in El Salvador.
El Salvador is that's the one with Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Venezuela is the one. Venezuela has a bad reputation in South America.
Venezuela
right?
is, well, because dictator government and communist government, Chavez and them boys.
I think I get those two mixed up, but El Salvador is next to Guatemala.
El Salvador is right next to Guatemala, next to Honduras, and right next to the rest of Central America, Costa Rica, Panama, all those folks. They're all Central American. And they have a close tie to Caribbean culture as well. I'll say El Salvador now is super, super safe, and a lot of Guatemalans are looking to venture and invest there. It's definitely another place to consider. But I think, again, if you're going out into the world and you're investing, or not investing, if you're going out into the world and you're interested in living remotely and living outside of the U.S., think of these other places. It doesn't have to just be Merida, Mexico. It can also be Antigua, Guatemala. It can be Guatemala City. It can be Jalapa, Guatemala. It can be San Salvador.
Back to the U.S.
Yeah, it can be. Oh, wait, what?
But like,
you
can expand to other things.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next thing. Where are you now, as far as mentally? What is it that does Merida still offer what it initially offered? If not, are there any other places you're thinking about? And like, what is just your general plan for the future as far as like high level? Not, you don't have to be specifics.
I think I think Merida's still offering a good life. I think that if you came in during that pandemic period when everything, all the prices had dropped and the peso was 20 something to the dollar, you were living a different life. This is not the same. Now we're living in the real Mexico, real Merida, and the prices have adjusted. They've in certain ways. But at the time I'm saying this is the peso's at 19.
19. Boy, I'm feeling.
Definitely an experience when that peso goes up and your dollar is very powerful. I'll say that. And it's a good thing. But I will also say that the exchange, I think that for me, cultural exchange, the impact is also I really can understand Mexican Spanish. It's easy for me, and I feel like they understand me well. Guatemalan Spanish.
Can you speak some Spanish for us?
Sí, hablas español bastante, está bien.
Okay.
Sí,
okay.
Sí. Guatemalan Spanish, I understood it too, but I think my accent, I don't know what it is, but they were just like, wait, what? Like, they're like, it also took them a second. I will say that there's different words that mean different things. There was a restaurant, I was just like, it was called El Pinche. And I was like, man, like, what does this mean? Like, pinche in, Mexican Spanish means something else, but but I guess the context of it being related to food, it didn't mean the same thing. And I was just sitting there like, they named the whole restaurant this, to each their own. I don't know, but it's just, you're learning, you're still learning. That's why I feel like a fifth grader sometimes, just, learning. But
good way to bring that full circle.
You got to bring it full circle. But
the hat, everybody wants to know.
Oh yeah, this hat right here.
What is the history? What is the story behind that hat?
We got this from the Gucci store. No, I honestly, this is from the first time I went to Guatemala. I love this hat so much because I went to the store, the market in Guatemala City, and I was like, it was so hot. It's interesting too because the climate in Guatemala stems from extremely hot lowlands to like frosty mountaintops. Where we were in Jalapa, it was at night. It wasn't getting super frosty, but definitely cold. You definitely didn't need AC. You might want to sleep with a blanket up there. You might want to have a jacket on you. And but when we were in the lowlands in Guatemala City for the first time, it was really hot, and I remember my neck was just getting cooked. Like, it was just like super hot. So I was like, "Where's the biggest hat that you have?" And this was the hat that they had. It was huge.
Yeah, I don't think I told you this though too. When I was in Texas, we got held up on one of our videos. We got held up in Texas. And I met this older lady from Guatemala, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm from Chicago." And I was like, "Oh, she might know Daisy. She might know Daisy." So I was asking her, just questions, and no, I don't think she knew Daisy.
She did. That's all good.
But she told me like a bit of the history of Guatemala, and she was just telling me that like they got the sea turtles. They eat the sea turtles.
But that's not in all parts of Guatemala.
No, it's not. But
was
she said
from
she
the
liked
Caribbean
that.
side or the Pacific side?
I think she's from the Pacific side.
Yeah,
and she was telling me like she said that the more northern, like northeastern side, she was saying is like more colonial.
Colonial, yeah. So it's interesting. There's a huge indigenous population in Guatemala, and that's what I really kind of enjoy about it. It's mass. It's like a mass indigenous population. I also think because of so many civil wars and so many issues, there's more. It's more of a female, like a matriarchal society. There's a lot more women there than men. Mexico's the contrast. There's more. There's more men than women here in Mexico, and so that's something to also consider. Again, you know, gender dynamics. You know, certain genders are a little bit more peaceful. Tend to not want to.
Which one?
I'm not going to no comment. But I definitely think that that's something to consider. You see it too. You actually could visibly see, wow, there's like a sea of very small Mayan women working on their weavings and stuff like that. And I think that's something to really consider. But yeah, I think definitely there's a cultural exchange in being in Guatemala and in Mexico. Definitely there are differences and similarities. But the colonial aspect, you can definitely see it in the physical features of the people and also the environments, and there still is like that class dynamic within Latin America. I feel like being from the United States, you have a different experience and appreciation for it. Like we kind of are aliens there sometimes. I feel like because we come out of nowhere. You know, they don't know if we're from Latin America, from Europe, from the United States. They're just kind of like.
Honestly, that's confused. A whole video.
Yeah,
like, talking about your effect on the world. Like people just they look at you, they're like, "Where are you from?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm from the States." Nah, you're legit. Not from there. And I'm like,
I mean, I think the advertising and marketing has made they did a really good job of making everyone think everyone in the U.S. is just European. Yeah. It doesn't even make sense. But it is what it is.
But even to a degree where I have a friend, he was from the U.S. and he was like, not blonde hair, blue eyes, and he was like, they still don't think that I'm American.
Of course they're not. I mean, of course
it's marketing is like specific.
Dude, it's international. And
hope you guys like that video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm gonna get more interviews, get more perspectives, more understanding of what you see in Merida versus giving you something that's just like manicured. Boy got the do-rag on. I need to get that. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you can always dislike it, comment, tell us how much you didn't like it. Don't forget to subscribe as well so you can hate the next video. We also got
OG Family Travel. Subscribe and check out our channel. We have a lot more videos coming up. We're traveling all over Mexico and Guatemala and a few more places to come. Julian loves the channel.
See y'all later.